What if the most advanced military surveillance system ever deployed in the Pacific had a fatal flaw? And a barefoot jungle fighter from Mindanao was the one to find it. This is not a war movie. This is a fictional reconstruction of a covert operation that rewrote the rules of modern intelligence warfare. In the dense, fog-soaked forests of a disputed island, Russian naval infantry, armed with drones, thermal arrays, and AI-assisted battle management, declared they could see everything. They were wrong, dead wrong. And what happened next became the most humbling lesson in the history of technological overconfidence.
The year is 2031. Global tensions over a chain of resource-rich Pacific islands have reached breaking point. Russia deploys its elite Pacific Coastal Strike Force, a battle-hardened Marine brigade equipped with satellite-linked surveillance, automated drone swarms, and thermal imaging rigs capable of detecting a footprint in cold mud from 2 kilometers away. Their commander, Colonel Mikhail Volkov, a decorated veteran of Arctic and urban warfare, establishes a forward command post deep in the highland jungle. He briefs his superiors with total confidence. Penetration of their perimeter, he says, is statistically impossible. He believes every word of it. On the opposite coast, 12 Filipino Scout Rangers insert by helicopter under a monsoon storm. They carry no satellite uplinks, no AI battle software, no thermal gear. What they carry instead is something far older and infinitely more dangerous: generational knowledge of jungle terrain, an almost supernatural capacity for patience, and a tactical creativity that no algorithm has ever successfully replicated. Their mission? Locate the Russian command post, map the full defensive perimeter, and ghost out without triggering a single alarm. Their commander is Captain Dante Reyes, 34 years old, born in the mountains, trained in war since he could walk.
Reyes does not think in pixels or satellite pings. He thinks in water flow, wind direction, canopy shadow, and the psychological weight of silence on a trained man's nerves. He knows that technology creates dependency, and dependency creates blind spots. And blind spots, he tells his team the night before insertion, are not weaknesses. They are doorways. You do not fight a surveillance network. You find the door it forgot to lock, and you walk through it quietly, one man at a time, in the dark, while the system congratulates itself on seeing everything. That is the plan. That is always the plan. The Rangers move at ground level, beneath the drone ceiling. They have studied the thermal imaging signatures of the island's native wildlife, wild pigs, monitor lizards, deer, and they mimic those movement patterns with chilling precision. They travel single file, each man stepping exactly where the man ahead stepped, distributing their footprint across a path that reads to any overhead sensor as a small animal herd moving through undergrowth. They carry 0 electronics, not one radio. Communication happens through hand signals and pre-memorized pattern sequences agreed upon days before insertion. They are, to every machine watching from above, nothing at all. On the second night, Corporal Efren Bautista spots something no drone ever could. A thin condensation trail rises between 2 trees, not smoke, not heat bloom, but the breath of a stationary Russian sentry in pre-dawn cold air. The sentry is invisible in full camouflage, but breath tells the truth. Bautista marks the position with 2 silent wrist taps, enemy confirmed, and the team adjusts course, slipping through a shadow line along a ridge line the Russian planners had deemed impassable at night without climbing equipment. They were thinking like engineers. Reyes thinks like a hunter. There is no comparison. Inside the Russian command post, Colonel Volkov reviews his morning sweep report. All green, no anomalous signatures, no movement detected in the restricted zone. His cyber team monitors every radio frequency in a 40-kilometer radius. His drone relay stations cover the entire valley in overlapping arcs. He sips his coffee and moves on to the day's operational planning. What he does not know, cannot know, is that 12 men have spent 48 hours inside his perimeter, watching his sentries breathe, counting seconds between drone sweeps, memorizing patrol rotations down to the individual soldier's walking pace. The system sees everything, except them. Sergeant Romulo Cruz makes the mission's decisive discovery on day 3. He notices the grass near a sensor relay station bending in a direction inconsistent with the prevailing wind, a micro-deviation across a 10-meter patch caused by air being drawn through the station's ventilation panel. Cruz maps the panel's exact position from 30 meters without touching anything. The team now knows the full power configuration and physical dimensions of the relay station, the spine of Volkov's entire surveillance network, using nothing but observation, patience, and a mind trained to notice what machines are not programmed to flag as relevant. It is over before Volkov knows it began.
Meanwhile, Private Oleg Brin, a junior signals technician in the Russian post, notices something odd. For a fraction of a second, the thermal array near Sector 7 shows what looks like a smear, not an animal, not a soldier, something in between. He flags it to Lieutenant Petrov. Petrov reviews the frame, sees nothing conclusive, and logs it as sensor noise. Petrov is not incompetent. He is operating inside a doctrinal framework that simply does not account for this level of human mimicry. The Russians have trained against technological threats. They have not trained against the deliberate, disciplined absence of technology. That gap costs them everything.
Reyes pulls the team to a pre-identified rally point, a shallow cave system his pre-mission geology study had flagged as a natural shelter, too small to appear on any map issued to the Russians. It is large enough for 12 men to rest, eat cold rations, and debrief without generating a detectable heat signature. While Volkov's drones sweep the island in patterns Reyes has already memorized, the Rangers sleep in shifts inside solid rock. They are not hiding, they are resting. There is a difference, and it matters. Hiding is reactive. This is deliberate. This is doctrine. This is what 20 years of jungle warfare produces in a man.
Phase 2 begins at 0300 hours on day 4. Reyes sends 3 two-man teams on separate vectors toward 3 target relay stations. Each pair carries a low-light film camera, old technology, chosen deliberately because it emits 0 electronic signature. The Russians have blanketed every digital frequency. They have not thought to worry about a man with a 40-year-old camera loaded with ISO 3200 film. In 12 minutes, all 3 teams reach their targets simultaneously, photograph the relay hardware, map the surrounding sensor fields, and withdraw on separate routes. The entire surveillance architecture of the Russian perimeter is now documented, on film, in a waterproof bag, in Reyes's vest pocket.
There is one close call. As Bautista's team withdraws from the eastern relay station, a Russian patrol deviates from its mapped route by 40 meters. Close enough that 2 Marines pass within 8 meters of Bautista and his partner, Mendoza. Both Rangers go flat in undergrowth, faces pressed into the earth, breathing through cloth. The Russian Marines sweep the area with handheld thermal scanners. The scanners read ambient temperature. The Rangers have pressed their bodies into a cold stream bed, dropping their surface heat below the scanner's detection threshold within 30 seconds of immersion. The Marines move on. Bautista exhales, slowly, silently, without moving a single muscle for another 4 minutes.